Ooh, all right, ladies and gentlemen, lovely to see you again. Connor Rhodes from Slim Society, and today we are going to be talking about reading and reacting to this article by cleanplates.com entitled Why Calorie Counting Doesn't Work and What to Do Instead. So this article is saying that straight up calorie counting does not work. And why are we going through this? Well, one of my clients actually sent me this article, confused and asking me why this article is saying calorie counting doesn't work and why a doctor on this article is also putting out this information that calorie counting does not work. And this is confusing my client, and quite rightly I'd be confused if I was her, because she's used calorie counting and lost weight and enjoyed it and found it educational, lots of benefits from it. And this doctor's saying it doesn't work, which obviously it does work. It's if this, we're going to read on and we're going to find out what the article says. But if it just says calorie counting does not work, that's an impossible thing to say, because literally untold amounts of people every single year lose weight by changing their food intake, eating healthier, reducing their calories in some way, and some of them used calorie counting. It's MyFitnessPal's flipping popular for a reason, isn't it? So let's see what this article says. Calories in versus calories out, i.e. eating fewer calories than you burn off, correct, has been the accepted weight loss formula for decades. True. For good reason, and we're on a good track. And on the face of it, it seems to make sense, the article says. Correct. It actually does make sense because it's tried and tested. But a growing body of research is proving what frustrated dieters have already discovered. It's just not that simple. And that's kind of true, you know. It's not that simple. This is why my program is called 6 Steps to Slim and not 1 Step to Slim or Calorie Counting to Slim. Because calorie counting is not the be-all, end-all, one only tool, and it's not the only thing that you have to do, really, to have successful, long-lasting results. Some people can do it only with calorie counting, but most people need more tools than just that. It's just one tool that you've got in your tool belt. It's effective for food education and personal dietary education for beginners or people wanting eyes on the problem and really good levels of food control, which is excellent if that's what you're trying to achieve, isn't it? If we're trying to manage calories, let's look at the calorie intake. That's all that it is, makes sense. But it's not just about that. Oh, here we go then, next bit. First, counting calories doesn't work, says Dr. David Ludwig. Let's have a look at this gentleman, shall we? We'll open this tab. Hello, sir. An endocrinologist, researcher, and professor at Harvard Medical School. An endocrinologist, that means hormones. I wonder if he's going to be hormone biased. Look at this cutie. Let's see what... Oh, this is linked straight to another cleanplates.com article. Okay, talking about this guy, written by a different person though. No matter how convincing a diet guru is these days, you don't have to look far to find another shouting just as loudly with the opposite information. That is true. There's just... You can find anybody saying anything. It's just free speech and it's just the internet. Though, isn't it? So it's up to you who you believe. For those of us who just want to look good and feel good, it can be difficult to know what and whom to believe. Correct. A little bit of information about him. Okay, let's see what he believes then, because here this says, what's wrong with the conventional wisdom that tells us the key to good health is to eat less and move more? That is the underlying principle, yes. Although it might be that simple, it's not that easy, but let's see what Ludwig's got to say. He says, the conventional approach is based on the notion that all calories are alike. All right. I mean... Firstly, I don't know what the conventional approach is, do you? Answer that question for me if you can, because I am not sure, and it's my job to know about these things. Is based on the notion that all calories are alike. I don't think anybody thinks that, do they? Is anybody pretending that fats and carbs do the same thing in your body, or that protein does the same thing as carbs? I don't think they are. Okay, and so one has to simply eat less and move more, establish a negative calorie balance, and you will lose weight. This is true. This is literally fundamentally proven. It's literally biology. This is how people starve to death if you don't get enough calories, and it's where body fat comes from. It can't come from nowhere, can it? It is calories, so where do the calories to create it have to go into the body? This is just literally what it is. If you can cut calories, you begin to lose weight, and most people can for the short term. Okay, so he's agreeing here that if you can cut calories, correct, you begin to lose weight, correct, and most people can for the short term. Correct. All right. So I don't know. I don't know what we're arguing about here then necessarily, because he's saying if you can cut calories, this is literally what he's saying, you begin to lose weight. Both of these things are true, and most people can for the short term. Correct. Science shows that you can probably keep up a calorie deficit for like 6 to 8 weeks before it screws up, or I think it's more like 2 to 6 weeks, personally, depending on which form of calorie reduction you've chosen. If you've chosen something ridiculous, like a supplement diet, a soup diet, or a shake diet, or you're going on a VLCD, or like a very low calorie diet, and that's not suited for you, because that only works for, well, it works for everybody if you can stick to it, but not everybody can stick to that. But over the long term, he says, very few people, less than 1 in 10, can keep that up. That is correct. 90% of everybody gains back more weight than they've lost within about 2 years. That's literally the real life statistics. Only 1 in 10 people lose weight successfully. And that is not anything to do with calorie counting. That's across every diet. And every single diet controls calories if it's a successful weight loss method, because that's the only way that weight comes off. Let's continue. According to the conventional view, he's saying again, I'm not sure what that means. Who is the conventional view? What website do you go to read what the conventional view is? Is it nutrition.conventionalview.com? I've never heard of this, so I'm not sure what that means. According to the conventional view, that's a person's failing that only 1 in 10 people lose weight success. I don't think that's true. I'm a professional, qualified, full-time, lifelong nutritionist. I don't think it's your fault that you can't eat less calories, literally. I think there's a lot more to it than just that, isn't there? There's food environment, there's the mechanization of society, there's just a million things, isn't there? Genetics, there's other people, stress levels, we could just go on, couldn't we? There's more to it than just, it's your fault, isn't it? If it was that easy, I wouldn't have a job, would I? Helping people. People see it as a lack of discipline, sometimes even a character issue. Some people do. I mean, people think a lot of stupid things. People with weight issues often experience stigma, bias, and even abuse for having this particular medical problem, unlike virtually any other medical problem. That is true. I'm not sure if that's true that it's not for any other medical problem, but that is true. People with weight problems sometimes do experience that, don't they? The obvious problem with the calorie in, calorie out model is that it disregards a fundamental scientific fact that has been established in the laboratory for almost a century. All right, this should be interesting, which is that body weight is more about biology than willpower, at least over the long term. I would say yes. Studies show that your level of willpower is not a correlate with dietary success. Literally, people who think they've got low willpower, do you know what studies actually show? You know, the more snacks that you eat, or the more times you, let's say, give in, even though that's not the correct term, but let's say you go for some higher calorie, highly palatable foods that you enjoy, that is not to do with your willpower, that's to do with how much temptation you experience, not how well you can deal with the temptation, because everybody can only say no so many times, especially if there's more and more people like peer pressuring you into it. It's not really to do with how strong your willpower is. It's how often does your willpower get tested. If your food environments and your environments are worse, if it's an obesogenic environment, if you're in a low calorie burning but high calorie availability and a nice tasting environment with lots of snacks around in every cupboard and people are passing you stuff and there's restaurants everywhere and stuff like this, then it's going to be difficult, isn't it? It's going to be difficult. When we lose weight by restricting calories, predictable biological responses will kick in. True. The body fights back with rising hunger, correct. Slowing metabolism, correct. And mounting of a stress response, correct. The secretion of stress hormones, which take a toll on the body. I mean, highly debatable. I mean, stress hormones take a toll on the body if it's like excessive for too long, for sure. But if you're losing weight and eating better, if that is causing a little bit of a stress response, let's say, the losing weight and the eating better is also having positive effects, isn't it? So, and we know that eating healthy is healthy, don't we? So even if eating healthy causes you a little bit of stress, it's got to be net positive, because everybody knows that eating healthy is healthy, because that's why it's called eating healthy. It's in its title, isn't it? So okay, maybe it is a bit stressful. We can't deny to eat better. It is a bit stressful, but it's net positive in terms of impact, isn't it? This combination of increasing hunger and slowing metabolic rate is a recipe for disaster. I don't necessarily agree. It's a recipe for difficulty, but disaster? Really? If you've got increasing hunger and slowing metabolic rate, did you know that there are anti-hunger methods and methods to boost your metabolism? Hopefully you did. If you're a Slum Society follower, you flipping do, because I've made videos about this about 19 times. About anti-hunger methods. If you join the 6 Steps to Slim program, anti-hunger tactics and tools we've got for you, about 10. I'm not even kidding. There's about, if you're getting hungry from reducing calories, which makes sense, doesn't it? Because if you're losing body fat, why are you losing fat? Because you've technically not eaten enough to fuel the weight that you are, so then your body's forced to draw some of its energy stores out and then burn them off. That's how it works. Technically, that's not eating enough, isn't it? That's indicative of hunger. If you don't eat enough, or if you're reducing, if your calorie intake is actually not sufficient to maintain your body how it is, and then that's causing the weight loss, which is a good thing, but it's what it is, that's indicative of hunger. So hunger levels do rise and hunger hormones do change through calorie deficits. It's definitely true. But you can't really not do it, because you can't lose weight without a calorie deficit. So it's just a part of the game. Do you know what you can do though? You can take breaks from the calorie deficit. You can use other anti-hunger tactics and tools, like messing around with meal frequency, meal timing, increasing protein intake, increasing fiber intake, increasing hydration levels, and this and that and the other thing. Look, I've just named like 6 things, and there's more. Ding, 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 ding. And slowing metabolic rate, you can also account for this. You can't counter for all of the slowing of metabolic rate. And these things, by the way, have got nothing to do with calorie counting, have they? These are effects that happen from every single diet, because every single diet that causes weight loss has reduced calories below the weight maintenance level. Otherwise, how is the weight coming off? Again, as I've just explained, it makes no sense to come off any other way, because it doesn't. Does it? A lot of the slower metabolic rate comes from 2 reasons. Number 1, low energy levels, so people's activity levels drop when they are dieting. So number 1 thing you can do is keep your activity levels up if you can, or what we do on the 6 Steps to Slim program is don't count for people's activity levels into their calorie management, and then if they don't do it, it doesn't matter. And then if they then do it, then it's bonus. I mean, makes sense. I mean, if you've got problems, you can just, you can just account for them. You can just put things in place to deal with them. Same as the hunger, same as the slow metabolism. Most of the metabolic slowdown, apart from that though, comes from because you actually weigh less and it's actually working. And when you lose weight and you get lighter, smaller people require less food, and that puts your calorie maintenance level down. But the entire point of it is to lose weight. So yes, your metabolism slows down when you lose weight, but that's because it's working. Because lighter people and smaller people, again, require less food and fuel. So the metabolic rate, or the calorie maintenance level, or how fast your metabolism is, or how many calories you can eat per day, whatever you want to call it, they're all the same. Of course it goes down. So you kind of need it to go down. We're kind of aiming for it to go down in a strange way. But you can also just boost it back up. You can eat more protein, eat more fiber, do more step count, loads of things. You can boost your metabolism by hundreds of calories per day. I've been through it on this page before. Actually in recent videos, so we'll move on. The secretion, no, sorry, I've read that bit. Is a recipe for disaster. And yet the conventional mindset tells us to just ignore it. Does it? That's not what I've just said. Maybe I'm not the conventional mindset. I'm probably not, actually. That's a good point. I am not the conventional mindset. I'm the modern mindset, because I'm actually thinking through these things, as you can tell. I actually help my clients with their problems. Ignore it and presumably, I don't know, just be hungry for the rest of your life. To be fair, a lot of calorie deficit programs do that. They just put you into a calorie deficit, or even any dieting program really. They just say, okay, here's the plan, go, don't they? They don't make adjustments for hunger on the way. And he's right. That's actually a terrible idea, and we actually do. I change people's calorie intake week on week if they need it. Sometimes they'll have lower, sometimes they'll have higher, based on hunger levels. Sometimes we change people's protein intakes and food volumes, and my people take diet breaks, like I've told you a million times before, so they're not having a calorie deficit even every single day or every single week. So if you're intelligent, you just flip and account for these things for your clients, because you're actually paying attention, isn't it? So this is not calories' fault or calorie counting's fault, is it? It's poor programming and poor coaching's fault. It's an impossible task, he says, for most people if you simply cut calories and don't change the quality of what you're eating. I kind of agree. That's true. If you can do it that way, you can just eat exactly the same and then just eat less of everything that you're eating. That is literal calorie reduction. That will literally induce weight loss. That will work, literally. Like if you always order pizza and then instead of eating the full pizza, you just eat half of it, that's half as many calories. If usually you eat a meal deal and it's got 2 little wraps in it, and then you only decide that I don't know, you're going to eat one, you know. You can just cut down all your portions and then that will work in terms of cutting calories, but that will not be easy, I agree. Really what you should do is change your portions. Like you should look at what's actually on the plate and rather than just trying to eat less of it, eat different of it. So if you usually have a big pile of carbs and a small pile of veg and a big pile of protein, good, we want to keep that protein because that's one of the things that boosts your metabolism, keeps you full for longer. But the carbs have got loads of calories and don't really fill you up. They just taste great. That's why you filled the plate with them. And the veggies, although they taste worse, they boost the metabolism as well, keep you fuller for longer, excellent, better nutrition, lower calories, you know, all that good stuff. So we just, rather than just cutting everything down, we just take the carbs down and put the veg up. Then there's actually the same amount of food on the plate. You're not any hungrier. You'll be fuller because your food volume's actually either the same, but the fiber intake's gone up. You know, you've still got that high protein, you've got that high fiber on there. You're eating healthier. Even though your calorie intake's gone down, your hunger might also go down in some ways, or at least you're countering for it, isn't it? So you do have to, it's about food quality as well. Again, my program's called 6 Steps to Slim. Step 1 is calorie control. It's actually called mindful eating because it's not all about calorie counting, it's about mindful eating. It's just that calorie counting is the best way to kick off mindful eating for somebody requiring food education and control. The second step is about movement and calorie burning, because that's your second best tool. My third step to slim is about food quality, because it matters too. It matters less, but it matters too. And the reason food quality matters less is because increasing food quality does not guarantee calorie reduction and therefore doesn't guarantee weight loss. And that's why Slimming World and programs like this don't work for everyone, because they let you eat unlimited quantity of good quality foods, don't they? And that, for some people, reduces their calorie intake enough to lose weight or to lose weight to a certain level, but it doesn't always reduce everybody's calorie intake, especially if you have a slower metabolism, lower activity levels, you're not as tall, or you've got less weight to lose, or other things. Anyway, if you're just not somebody that finds weight loss easy, and don't have the most adaptive and, let's say, quickest metabolism, if you don't have the best metabolism, then that's not necessarily going to work. And that's why Slimming World works for some people, but not for everyone. What are common mistakes you see people making? Okay. Oh, he's selling a book. Okay. Your book, Always Hungry, promises weight loss without deprivation, without extreme exercise. How is that possible? That's definitely possible. Okay, we'll not go into it. We'll go back to this. Okay, we'll go. Oh, this is okay. Good. I'm glad we went back to this because I've just seen immediately the first line. Look at this. This is going to be hilarious because Dr. David Ludwig here says, first, calorie counting doesn't work. That's literally an impossible and ridiculous thing to say. MyFitnessPal themselves track people's weight loss. They know like how many members they've got and how many pounds. If the people have logged it, of course, that people using their actual app have lost. And it's millions and millions. It's millions. Google it. They literally track this. So how can you say counting calories doesn't work when the calorie counting app, MyFitnessPal, the most famous one, it clearly works. It clearly works. Says Dr. David Ludwig, an endocrinologist, researcher, and professor at Harvard Medical School and Harvard School of Public Health. A smart guy, I'm sure, and an author of the 2016 book, Always Hungry, ? For some people, it does seem like that. Again, I've made videos about why that is. Sure, eating less and moving more will produce short-term weight loss. He agrees that it works then, but the body fights back. True. We've been through this with rising hunger and slow metabolism, a recipe for failure. True, if you don't account for those variables. If you join a stupid program that doesn't account for those variables, or if, you just decide to just try and eat 1,200 calories a day or 1,400 calories a day. So of course, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. That's not calorie counting's fault. That's you doing it wrong. That's not the correct way to do it. That's never the plan. Or if somebody's told you that that's the plan, oh, just eat less calories and then just go. No. I mean, yes, we do have to eat less calories, but you don't just chop it down like this is saying and then just go forward forever. Again, this is not. He's going on. This is hilarious. That's not calorie counting's fault. That's the people doing it wrong, isn't it? They might be doing the calorie counting right, but they're controlling their calories via the calorie counting wrong. It's the calorie control that we're looking for, not the actual counting, isn't it? The reason that calorie counting is effective is not only for the actual looking at how many calories it's actually got in it, it's for the food diary aspect. Literally. I use calorie counting at the start of the 6 Steps to Slim program with every single member. And it is because I want them to check how many calories they're actually eating and to check if they've reduced it properly so we can check if we're actually going to get the correct result that they actually want. Because we're not flipping just stabbing in the dark, are we? Or throwing shit at the wall. If we have to change the calories to lose weight, how about we just check if we've changed the calories. I mean, oh my lord. I mean, people act like it's a demon, calorie counting, or calorie counting means you're eating crap food. No, it doesn't. It means you're checking how many calories are in it. Calorie counting means you reduce to 1,200. No, it doesn't. Calorie counting means you're checking how many calories are in your diet. That's all it is. It doesn't even dictate what you do with it. What you do with it's the important thing, isn't it? The best thing about calorie counting for beginners, yes, it's good to see where the calories are at and stuff, but really it's the food diary aspect. It's for personal education on that person's food and diet. It's so that I, as the coach, can see in front of me a plan of roughly what they eat. It's not perfect. No one gets it perfect in calorie counting. It's not a perfect tool. Even the numbers it says on the packets are not perfect. That's only an estimation. You know, like Tesco, Morrison's, you know, it says the number of calories on the front of the pack. That's an estimation. That's not exactly what calories are in the pack. So when you add all these estimations into the diary, it does not bring out the exact calorie number. No one thinks that it does. It's just an estimation. It's so I can actually see-ish what's going on with your diet. And you know who else can? You. And you know, getting eyes on the problem, this helps with flipping every problem you've got in the world. If you can't see it, it's going to be way more difficult to fix it, isn't it? It's like blindfolding your mechanic before you bring him to the car and saying, "What's wrong with it, sir?" Let me have a look at it. Let me have a look at it. What's wrong? What's wrong with my diet, Connor? What am I doing wrong? Well, I need to have a look at it. I need to actually be able to see what you're eating, and it'd help if you did too, because a lot of people are confused about what's going on. Well, if we look at it, that's all calorie counting is. It's just looking at your diet. It doesn't dictate what you actually do. And if you don't take into account anything else other than I should reduce my calories, then you're missing the forest for the trees, my dear. Here we go. Come on, Ludwig, enlighten me. Second, counting calories can't work. Can't it? That's literally an impossible thing to say. Because, again, all of my clients, they do calorie counting at the beginning, only until we've looked at their food diary and agreed on a couple of swaps, then they can stop. Literally. It's just at the beginning so we can get eyes on the actual problem. And everybody loses weight, literally. This is how we offer 100% guaranteed results on the program. Every single person's weight comes down. Even people that come to me and they say, I never lose weight on any diet. Maybe you don't, because other diets are not controlling your calories correctly like we are. We actually get the calories and reduce them in a variety of different methods and means, depending on your preference. Ting! I mean, go to slimsociety.co.uk and find out who we are and how we can help you. Second, counting calories can't work. A lie, he continues. Without elaborate technology, to be fair, I've got an iPhone 11 and it's pretty elaborate technology. If you showed that to someone from like even the 1900s, even like 100 years ago, they'd think we're at actual witchcraft. It's a TV and a compass and a GPS and a phone and a camera, and it plays videos and it's got access to the internet, which is all the information ever recorded in the history of the world currently known. Isn't it? It's flipping, it's whatever you want it to be. It's Photoshop, you play games on it, it's video calling, it's work, it's entertainment, it's pretty, I mean, it's like 500 quid for an iPhone 11. I mean, it's pretty elaborate technology, I agree, but it's only a phone. I mean, everybody has phone. Everybody has phones, don't they? You don't even need an iPhone 11. You can get an iPhone 3 or a Samsung, whatever it might be, and put MyFitnessPal on it. It's only calorie counting, come on. Let's not be hyperbolic then, shall we, and biased. Not even a trained nutrition expert can accurately determine their calorie balance within 350 calories per day. That's actually a scientific fact, because dietitians themselves, who I will say are not the gold standard of nutrition training, literally. A dietitian's not the best trained person necessarily in most instances to help you with your weight management. It's just what it is, essentially, and it's been shown that dietitians also make errors with their calorie counting. And like I've said, it's not a perfect tool. I coach my members on how to do it, and I teach them how to do it properly so that we can actually get accurate-ish calorie counting estimates. Again, it's not perfect, but it's not supposed to be perfect. It's just an estimate. It's always a little bit different every day anyway, so it's not worth nitpicking over. A daily excess of this amount would lead to massive obesity in just a few years. That's true. If you did eat 350 calories per day, it wouldn't seem too much. It wouldn't seem like you were eating that much too much, and you're not, but you would gain stones and stones and stones over a few years. That is absolutely true. But again, that's not calorie counting's fault. That's why we're doing the calorie counting, to stop that kind of thing happening, isn't it? Not checking how many calories you've got doesn't make it any easier. How can that be possible? Calorie counting is like money management. It's like checking what's going on in your bank account. The question is this: could you save money if you didn't know how much you got paid and you didn't know what your outgoings were. So if you didn't know what you'd got to work with and what your expenditures were, like this is your metabolism, if you don't know how many calories your body actually can take in without gaining body fat or to lose body fat, if you don't know what your actual calorie ranges and intake should be, and you're not checking the calories in stuff, could you still save money without knowing how much you got paid and what you were spending? Yeah, you could. Yeah, you could. You could scrimp and save, and you just have to cross your fingers and just see if it works, wouldn't you? Or imagine this for a crazy idea. This is a crazy idea. Imagine if you just actually checked how much you got paid and you knew what you had to work with, like you knew what your actual body, you personally, not anybody else, you, how many, I can work this out for you easily, how many calories your body requires to lose weight, gain weight, roughly what metabolism are you working with. And then if you know what you're spending, don't think that makes, that's all it is, calorie counting. It's just checking what's going on. Not checking what's going on does not help. For that matter, if calorie counting were so important to weight control, how did humans ever manage to maintain a healthy body weight before the very notion of a calorie was invented? That's a ridiculous thing to say because the food environment's changed. This is like saying, why should we exercise when humans never exercised in the past? Which is true. Humans have been around for like 300,000 years and we've only been exercising for like a couple of thousand. Why? Because the world changed. I mean, let's not pretend we're still cavemen running around struggling to get food. The problem is now we've got too much food, so we need food control, not constant food searching. Humans used to die if they didn't flipping constantly search for or create food because it was really hard to get. Still, half of the world's still starving to death. They don't need to calorie count if they don't have enough food. Don't be ridiculous, is it? It's because the world's different. How did humans ever manage to maintain a healthy body weight before the very notion of a calorie was invented? The same way every other animal on Earth maintains a healthy body weight, because it has to run away from things that are constantly trying to eat it alive, or it's chasing things and trying to eat things with its face. Like if it's a tiger, it's like, or a lion, it's running after things constantly trying to chase down its food. They can't even eat vegetables. Yeah, you know? So if you're constantly running away from things trying to eat you and you're constantly chasing after things trying to eat it, and you've got to run after all your food all day and you don't have a home or a sedentary job, you've got to literally stay on the move because you actually don't have buildings don't exist for animals. They actually don't live anywhere. Imagine that. Because it's not the same. This was what we were like as well as humans. We were also nomads and hunter-gatherers. We were also wilder in a way, or more like other animals. But times have changed, in case you've not noticed, Ludwig. Now we need food control, not constant food searching, don't we? Like, times have changed. Ludwig's weight loss program, outlined in Always Hungry, involves changing the diet as opposed to simply limiting calories. I mean, good. You can't, again, just limiting your calorie intake. That's what we have to do, but there are ways we can go about that, and changing the diet is one. It's not a ridiculous concept, is it? As well as implementing lifestyle changes such as reducing stress and improving sleep. That's our fourth step to slim: psychology and stress management. And it's also got, it's called snacking and psychology, actually, because it's a lot about snacks as well. And the psychology around snacks and binge eating, stress eating, emotional eating, social eating. You mean I'm paying attention to the problems that you have? Holy shit. I mean, it's unbelievable, isn't it? I mean, okay, look at this. The aim of our program is to lower levels of the hormone insulin and calm chronic inflammation. All calorie reduction lowers insulin. That's how it works. And calm chronic inflammation, I mean, okay, sir, if you say so. If you say so. Anyway, I won't start going to it. Another book with his wife who's a chef. That sounds nice, Dawn Ludwig. As these happen, so as what happens? As you calm chronic inflammation, okay, and the hormone insulin, metabolism improves. True for the insulin. Chronic inflammation doesn't affect metabolism that much this is a very strange thing to say, and weight loss can occur without the struggle. Why? If you've got lower insulin levels, then you will, and you don't have chronic inflammation, which both of those things would be good, you can lose weight without struggle. Hopefully he says why, because that currently does not make any sense. That doesn't get you around the hunger, like he said, because insulin being high is actually a satiety signal to your body that you actually have nutrition. So when insulin goes down, hunger actually goes up. So, same with stress, isn't it? If you had chronic inflammation and this was causing stress, stress sometimes causes hunger or stress. What are we talking about? Sorry. Dr. Ludwig says his prescribed I'm sure, way of eating can lead to fewer cravings, better control of hunger, improved energy levels, and reduced risk of chronic conditions like diabetes. Oh, yeah, good. I hope so. If he's got a good diet, like any other diet that's good, ours does that too. Any other diet that's decent should do that. Completely agree. Here are 7 things you can start today to lose or maintain a healthy weight and improve your overall health. The goal is to love your food, feel great, and be healthy. Yeah, I think that is the goal, actually. Go slow carb. Slow carb. Now we're talking about GI, like it's 1990. The official 2-week phase, okay, so we're in phases. This is not sounding like a fad diet at all, is it? The 2-week phase, but it's got a cute name as well. Let's read on. Diet involves cutting out fast digesting carbs, such as refined sugar, except a small amount of dark chocolate, which is apparently okay. You're not allowed white potatoes or pasta or bread. Okay. Later in the program, some of these things can be added back. Good. I mean, because please explain to me what solely reducing those 4 foods is really going to achieve. If, like, eating less pasta makes you, I don't know, somehow cut down your calories, then that's good. But you can also just eat pasta within, a healthy, balanced diet. You also can do that. You don't have to cut it out. Same as, I mean, if you stop eating bread and that stops you ordering pizza every day and you start eating better foods, then okay. But that's not really to do with the bread, is it? There's nothing wrong with toast, is there? Humans have been eating bread for thousands of years, even before obesity. So if he's going on the point earlier of why do people not need calorie counting, well, why can't people eat bread if that's what they always did? So what are we talking about? Sorry. Later in the program, I've already read that bit. These foods raise insulin, true, but there's way more foods than that raise insulin. Protein also raises insulin, so what about that then? Are we not supposed to eat that? I know here it says have a serving of high quality protein with each meal, even though that puts insulin up. So we seem to be biased here against carbohydrates, it seems, don't we? Even though low carbohydrate diets don't show better health improvements or weight loss when calories are matched versus high carb diets or medium carb diets or anything. All diets are literally proven equal under the same calorie and protein requirements, let's say. Those foods raise insulin. I guess, yeah, they do. I mean, but okay, way more foods do it than that. So like, why are we demonizing specifically? Again, as white potatoes and pasta, why are we demonizing these foods? But rather than telling you to go low carb, okay, Ludwig suggests you go slow carb. So he's saying eat fibrous foods, basically, isn't he? That's what he's going to say. In which you replace the foods with fast-acting carb. In which you replace with fast-acting carbs. What? In which you replace with fast-acting carbs with food. Is that a typo or am I reading that wrong? But rather than telling you to go low carb, the Ludwigs, both of them, suggest a slow carb approach in which you replace foods with fast-acting carbs. You replace the foods with fast-acting carbs. Sorry, this is my fault, maybe. It sounds just worded strangely. With foods with slow-acting carbs, with more fiber, basically. Okay. Instead of having this, have that dessert instead. Swap out low fat for full fat. Okay, I mean, all right, have protein, that's a good idea. Keeping grains in, that's a good idea. Good movement, that's a good idea. Stress relief, that's a good idea. Creating bedtime routine, that's a good idea. Most of these things are a good idea. Even eating more fiber is a good idea, but it's making it seem like foods without fiber are bad, which it's not. It just doesn't have fiber. Like protein also doesn't have fiber. Does that make it... Is fiber good? Yes. Does that make foods without fiber bad? No. Could you also get high fiber white potatoes? Yeah, you could eat the skin, and you could get whole wheat pasta and whole grain bread. You could even get a seedy bread. I actually like a seedy bread, a seedy oat bread with a nice crust on it. I'm talking fiber, baby. Fibra. La fibra. What do you think then? I don't get it. That's what I think. Honestly, what do you think? I don't get it. I don't get why they're saying calorie counting doesn't work. They didn't actually say that. Calorie counting definitely works. That's literally an impossible thing to say. They're saying just counting calories doesn't work for most people because it actually said on this one here that, look, 1 in 10 people can keep it up. So 10% of people do lose weight. So weight loss is a real thing. You just have to do it the right way. Here it said, according to the conventional view, that's a personal failing. That's really where the problem is. That's really where the problem is. It's not a personal failing. It's that the diets you're choosing are not taking into account these things that I've told you that we should be taking into account, that he's also telling you you should be taking into account. It's just, calorie counting is not the only thing. It's not like, oh, I'll just look at how many calories I'm eating and then magically I'll be slim. I mean, in theory, yes. In actuality, you're a real human with real thoughts and feelings and wants and needs and desires and changing stress and hunger levels. And these things need to be accounted for. And this is just why you need a proper coach, don't you? Who actually accounts for these things. So my clients don't have the same calorie intake every day. They don't have the same calorie goal every week. They actually have a calorie range so that they've actually got some flexibility. They don't have to cut out foods they don't like, especially not like bread and flipping things that people enjoy, because then that just makes people miserable on the diet, which then reduces the longevity of the process anyway, so they can't keep it up for as long, so they don't lose weight, or they just gain it back anyway. So we need to find ways to fit foods people like into the diet, and that's called a healthy balanced diet, isn't it? Where you don't ban foods, you don't demonize certain foods. We do account for hunger levels. We have millions of anti-hunger tactics. People set anti-hunger goals. We do work on food quality as well. These are all parts of it. These are all parts of the puzzle. Calorie counting is just a tool, and I'm just straight with you here. It's the best food education tool and food control tool that currently exists. It's not perfect. No, it's not foolproof. It's not universal. It doesn't work every single time in every single place. There's lots of times you can't count your calories. It just helps if you can. You know, like I said, it's just a food diary that shows you where the calories are coming in, and if too many calories is causing your weight to be too high, which it is. And this Ludwig guy is going on about insulin and stuff as well. If you reduce insulin, but by even lowering carbs doesn't necessarily lower your insulin levels, because if your body weight stays too high because you lower the carbs but your calorie intake doesn't come down enough to lose weight, then your insulin resistance won't go down, then the insulin will stay high anyway. And protein and other things also release insulin. And also, even if you have no insulin, you can still gain body fat. There's other body fat storage pathways than just insulin. So why are we demonizing one specific thing? It's literally been shown that if you have no insulin, you can still gain body fat just through, because like if you eat a very high fat diet, your insulin, but nothing else, like a super keto diet, you can still gain body fat on a keto diet. This is literally a fact. Even if you've got no carbohydrates and you keep your protein really low and your insulin levels are all low, you can still gain body fat. And then if your body fat goes up, your insulin resistance goes up anyway. You know. So it's not about that. It's about all of it overall. Calorie counting, literally, you can do calorie counting and do it wrong, definitely. You can also control your calories wrong. You can do the calorie control part via the calorie counting wrong. Like when you download MyFitnessPal app, it's got flipping terrible advice. It'll tell you to eat 1,200 or 1,400 calories per day, and then it'll be like, you are eating too much cholesterol, you haven't eaten enough salt. It's just, all of that's wrong, including calorie goals and calorie aims and calorie ranges. None of this is right. It's not working out things for you. If you want that doing, you need to actually find someone to help you who actually knows what they're doing, to actually make sense of all this information that's actually coming in. But that's all it is. It's data collection. It's just information collection on a diet. And if you're trying to help yourself or get somebody else to help you, it's good if we can get eyes on the problem. If calories are the issue overall, which they are, calories are the thing that's, again, it's not just carbs causing the insulin to go up. It's also your body fat levels and the protein intake. So what do we need to sort? All of it. Don't we? All of it, not just flipping one thing. So anyway, that's enough from me. Seemed like a cute sales pitch from Dr. David Ludwig. Basically, he's against carbs and bread, and he wants you to buy his book to reduce chronic inflammation. All right then. I mean, all righty then. If you say so, sir. That's what I think. That's what I think. Let me know what you think, ladies and gentlemen. If you got anything out of this video, please give me a like, leave on a comment. If you want to go to slumsociety.co.uk, good. See who we are and how we can help you. And that's enough from me. Thank you. I'll speak to you and I'll see you again soon.